My fellow Craftswrights, welcome back to the shop. I have something really exciting I need to share with you. This is, well, actually hold on, let me give you a little backstory on it. So real quick, before I crack this open, I want to give you a little bit of a lesson in serendipity. About a week ago, 2 weeks ago roughly, I was looking for a machine that I would need for an upcoming project. And I was searching the internet, I was trying to figure out which one I was going to get. Supplies are short because of COVID, and I was kind of thinking like maybe it's a bust and I'm just going to let it go. Do I really need one of these things? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. So then I go out and I visit my parents, and I noticed this sitting over in a corner. So I asked my dad, I was like, is this what I think it is? He goes, yeah. Actually, I was in the barn yesterday. So this was a Saturday that I visited my parents. And he goes, on Friday, I was down in the barn and I saw this tucked away in a corner and I didn't know what it was. So I pulled it down and looked it over and I was like, wow. And he brought it up to the house because he didn't want it to be tucked away in a barn and getting all dusty and gross and rusty. And I just thought that that was really amazing that I was looking for one of these, a modern one, obviously. And the day before I go out and I visit my parents, my dad pulls one of these out of the corner of the barn that we didn't even know we had. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you believe in fate, but it's kind of fatey. Anyway, let's pop her open. This is my mother's Montgomery Ward Zigzag Deluxe sewing machine. Just look at this thing. It is built like a tank. I mean, or like a Cadillac, I guess. I mean, the thing's probably 25 pounds or so. I mean, even the logo kind of looks like an old Chrysler or an old Cadillac logo. But so this was my mom's sewing machine from 1971 is when she took it to class with her. This was considered ultra light at the time, which is kind of funny. And it might also be part of the reason why Mama Craftswright is stacked. She used this in 1971, and to the best of her knowledge, this was about 20 years old when she got it. So that would date this back to roughly 1951, so early 50s, late 40s. This is a 70-year-old sewing machine, and it is, I don't know, I think it's beautiful. The paint on it is gorgeous. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just really excited about this thing, especially because of how cool it looks. It does have a little bit of rust forming on it, but I'm hoping I can clean that up a little bit. And it is a little antiquated in the sense that it can only do 2 stitches, really. It can do a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. You can narrow the width, you can narrow the length, you can kind of adjust the feed and the speed, but in terms of like all the fancy stuff that you get on modern sewing machines, there is none. I mean, just the engineering on it is pretty neat in and of itself. I haven't opened it up to take a look at the internals, and hell, I don't even know if it runs, but it's pretty cool. Like, it's belt driven with a little 115 volt, 1.5 amp motor. And like, even just the way the bobbin is wound is really neat. There's a little wheel here, and you put it on there, and while this is spinning, you just push down to engage it, and I don't know. I find the engineering on this thing kind of fascinating because it's so much like a machine instead of modern sewing machines where they're just like a white box with a bunch of computers inside of it and you have no idea what's going on. This is almost like the internals on a car, which again, for another car reference, it looks like a car and it functions like one. I mean, I almost think I could take this thing to work. The most important question is if it runs. So let's see if I can get it running. So let's go ahead and get some of this stuff out of the way. This looks like another grommet for their, or not grommet. Yeah, it looks like a grommet, whatever that's called. A bunch of junk in here. There's not a lot of length on the foot pedal. I'd say maybe 2 feet. It seems kind of strange, but has some fancy pen needles, some embroidery needles, golden eyes or gold eyes. Ooh, look at those. Some Schmetz Universal Jersey Synthetics. That's just such a cool name. Schmetz Universal Needles. Oh, damn. For leather, denim, and stretch material. I also really love how they spelled deluxe. Zigzag, model 788, made in Japan. So, not made in the US, but, you know, Japan makes some good stuff. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing, is that this was for sale at a garage sale for 50 bucks. At least that's what my grandpa wanted it for, or wanted to sell it for. So this was almost sold and almost gone. It never would have made it here, and you guys never would have seen it. Another level of serendipity for you, but I actually think there's something underneath here. Oh, nothing, except some cobwebs and safety pins. I was hoping there'd be some different feet. Because my understanding was this thing also had a foot for buttons and narrow hems and whatnot, but I guess not. My mom did tell me that these older machines like this, they needed to be oiled and oiled regularly, and this thing probably hasn't been oiled in 30 or 40 years. So I was able, thankfully to the internet, to find a manual for this thing, which is pretty crazy. And it also has oiling instructions, so let's do that. But I don't know what kind of oil it takes or if I even have any. Let's take a look. I think I have something that'll work up in here. Yeah! This, my friends, I think is going to do just the trick. It's got the needle applicator, and it's low weight motor oil. I mean, the thing's built like a truck. I use this same stuff on, obviously, my extracurricular activities that I can't mention on YouTube, otherwise I'll be demonetized. So, I mean, I don't see why this wouldn't work. Just look how neat that is. So this engages that wheel now. Should need some oil. And this holds pressure on the bobbin, and then when you're done, you just push that back. Love it. So according to this diagram, there's supposed to be a way that we can access this top section here. And then apparently we have to flip the thing over and oil it as well. But I'm not seeing any screws or any sort of mechanism to open this. So I'm not exactly sure. Oh, there's a little wiggle. So the manual's not lying to us. Apparently you can open this. You know, occasionally manuals lie. The question is how? How do you open it up? See, these instructions clearly state, to oil your machine thoroughly, it will be necessary for you to open arm cover and to turn the machine over to get to the parts underneath the bed. I like that it tells us we need to open the arm cover, but it gives absolutely zero information on how to open this up.
Hello.
Mom!
Cody.
Hey, so your 50-year-old sewing machine, or 70-year-old.
70.
Yeah, do you remember the last time that you opened the top on it?
Short, about 2 years ago. What do you mean, lifted up the bottom?
No. So I'm going to oil it before I start it up, and the manual that I downloaded shows diagrams of doing the top under the very top cover, and it even says like you need to lift that up to oil it, but it gives you zero information on how to do that.
Oh gosh, I don't know that I ever did.
Well, I guess I'll just try to figure it out. We'll see what happens.
They've got to have a maintenance section because they take in sewing machines for resale.
So I'll just figure it out.
Okay.
All right.
Good luck, mister.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, love you, Mom.
Love you too, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye.
He was staring at me right in the face if I would have just looked. This little thing right here. Unscrew that. Ta-da! Now we can actually Now we can get in there and see about oiling it. Oh man, it's really just like... I mean, this old Tony obviously would be able to explain this stuff a lot better than I would, or a mechanic, because I am neither a mechanic nor an engineer. But this stuff is pretty neat. Like you can see the gear wheel in there. And look, to think that this almost got sold at a garage sale instead of ending up here in my workshop on YouTube. Grandpa. I love you, but... Okay, she's oiled. You can actually already feel it kind of spins quite a bit better. The question is, will she run? The light works, that's a good sign. Yeah! Weird. When you press all the way down, it just like stalls out. You have to ease up to it. It's like there's a point in the switch where it cuts off. Oh, I bet that's so you can make quick stops while you're sewing. Like you, oh yeah, I'm going, I'm at full speed. Oh, I need to stop for a second. Okay, now we're going again. Bam! It works. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're in Wine City. Look at her go in all of her glory. But the big question I want to know, and I'm sure you all out there want to know, is will it actually sew something? Fabric. Oh, oh, this pedal is really touchy. Oh, but look at that. That is such a fine little stitch. Oops, I didn't lift the presser foot. Is there a trick to getting that to release? Oh, I broke the needle somehow. That's crazy. That's so little and fine. I guess I've got it going as tiny as it can go. Let me see what else I can get out of this after I put a new needle in. So I actually decided to hold off on putting a new needle in and trying out some of the other stitches like the zigzag and whatnot. I want to run to the craft store and pick up some new needles instead of using those vintage ones just because I think they're really cool and I like the packaging and I don't want to use them. So I know this is a little out of the ordinary and not the normal content, but I kind of warned you about that in my last video. If you haven't checked that out, I suggest you do. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you are so you can see this in an upcoming project. It's going to be pretty interesting and a lot of fun. I'm very excited for it. And in the meantime, keep up the good work.